Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to try making a homemade MRE, or a meal almost ready to eat, using some components from freeze-dried Wholesalers. Alright everybody, welcome back. So I figured what I'm going to do today is put together a little bit of a longer term MRE, or meal almost ready to eat, a mare, M-A-R-E. And we're going to be trying it out with some of the freeze-dried Wholesalers. Now, we're not going to eat this today. I'm going to pack this today. Then, later on, maybe 6 months or so down the road, we're going to open it up and be out somewhere, and we're going to prepare it and eat it. Today, what I'm going to try to do, and I'm going to show you all the components I'm putting in before we seal it all up, is we're going to try some of the freeze-dried smoked pulled pork, some of the long-grain brown rice. These are just easy to throw together, and I got some hot sauce down here, but we'll get into that. And some of the freeze-dried chicken taquitos. Now, I got to say, I rehydrated some of those chicken taquitos. They are really, really good and really easy to hydrate. The outside does get a little moist, but if you let them sit after they've hydrated, it'll suck all the water back in, and they're easy to eat and really good. So, let's go over some of the components that I have inside here. Now, again, this is going to be just for me. This isn't going to be for anybody else, so I'm going to pack what I like in it. You guys can change it any way you want. So, the first thing I have over here is 2 instant coffees and 2 Propels for a little bit of electrolytes, should you need it, with your water. And next up is 2 emergency purified drinking waters. Now these are for hydrating. They are not for drinking, at least not in my method here. I always carry water with me, so these would be just a convenient way not to have to waste more of my drinking water to hydrate. So I'd just take these and hydrate them and be done with it. They'll probably be more than enough. I could probably put a third one in there if I had to, but that's probably good for now. Now for a snack, if I'm not ready to eat the whole meal, I have some salted peanuts here, and I have some Jack's Link's original beef and cheese. Okay, and I also have, for cleanliness, a potty pack. So we got wet wipes, toilet paper, all that. If you want to wash your hands, I have 2 of these Porta Wipes. These you just drop into water and they blow up into full-size towels. Over here I have some silverware and a napkin. And down at the bottom, I have this little seasoning that I do here. Now this is my own seasoning. I'll show you what it looks like. I sealed it up in a freeze-dried, not freeze-dried, a vacuum-sealed package. This is my taco seasoning. I got a little bit of taco seasoning in there, a little bit of onions, garlic, pepper, a little bit of everything. Okay, and I just keep it in this tin out here. But I figured that would go good along with some of the sauces. Now I have some sriracha chili sauce if I want it really spicy, and I saved these from Taco Bell. These little sauces. So I have more of the milds because I probably will want it mild to begin with. And I have some extra salts and peppers, should anything need a little more salt and pepper. So what we're going to do is we're going to pack all this up. But first I'm going to show you how I pack up the components. Now I did this just to save time. This is just a small little package. And I want you guys to understand that when you're using a vacuum sealer, you can cut up the bags to any size you want. Over here I have some that I've cut up. Okay? And yes, one side will be open. Let me show you that. See here? 2 sides on this one actually, but I can run my vacuum sealer across here and across here just to seal it, and it's good to go. With this one, that's exactly what I did. I sealed it across here and across here on top when I had it full. So you can seal up any of this. Probably not going to be sealing up anything in here because pretty much everything else is good. I'm going to be sealing up these items here in the back, the freeze-dried food actually, just to give it a little bit longer shelf life and see how well it works. So let me get all this stuff out of the way, and we'll get our portions ready for how much we're going to be putting together in these meals. So the first thing I'm going to seal up are all these little condiments and stuff, because if for some reason they do break or leak, I don't want them to ruin the food. It may not be as tasty without them, but at least it won't damage the food. So we're going to just toss them in a bag here. Now this bag I am not going to vacuum seal, because of course I don't want things to be under too much pressure and pop. I don't think those little containers down there would take it too well. This is just a Ziploc bag, a small Ziploc bag. I forget what I got in it, but it works. Alright, so there you go. That's sealed up. Let's move on to the next thing. Now one of the first things I'm doing here is looking at the instructions for everything. The long grain brown rice and the pulled pork pretty much have the exact same instructions. I was debating whether I wanted to just throw it all together and hydrate them together, but I figured what if the rice takes longer to hydrate than the pork, and the pork is then mushy. So I'm going to make 2 separate small packs, and I have these little quart bags here from Ziploc. And what I'm going to do is make it so that I have enough room for water in there. You know, ideally, if you want to pack this as small as possible, maybe you're going to have this much pulled pork down here, and you're going to cut it right here, and boom, you're done. Well, I want to give it a little bit of room so I could throw water in there and hydrate it and fold it back over and let it sit. So it's a fairly simple idea. I'm just going to take it and cut it, I would say, right about that middle section there. If I can get my scissors in my hand right. And that's actually going to be perfect. Okay. So what I'm going to do with this now, again, this stuff rehydrates. Each ounce weighs about 4 ounces once rehydrated. So we're not going to want to put, you know, a ton of dehydrated stuff in here and have too much and leftovers. You want it to be about what you're going to eat. So I'm going to take about 3/4 of a cup here. There's my measuring spoon. And it's, you know, this is not for dry measurements, but it'll work. Okay, that's my fork. I'm going to open them all up. Okay. First we're going to do the pork. And I'm just going to, I may have to just take it out by my hand here. And being that I'm eating this, I'm not too worried about me touching it. I already washed my hands. And this is what it looks like, this pork, dehydrated. That's what it looks like. So we're going to stuff it in there pretty good. I don't want to make it too small. And I got to remember that, you know, as I do this, that if I do a heaping kind of thing here, it's still going to break apart and be pretty good. So, and also too, you want to do this on a counter that isn't, I mean, I've washed this counter a billion times, but still, you want to do this on a clean counter if you're putting this away for other people. This is just for me, so I'm not worried about contaminating myself with my own germs. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here. And you know what? I think I cut this bag a little too short, so let me cut a little bit longer bag. As I was cutting it, I was wondering if it was a little too short. And that's the kind of mistake you're going to make, you know, when you're new to doing this. You're going to make little mistakes like that. So, yeah, we'll do a little bit longer. We'll do about up to here. That's good. I'm looking in there, and there's still stuff to put in there. And I'm like, that leaves me no room for water. For some reason, I thought these would be a little bit smaller and not these big chunks. So, there we go. I can use that bag for something else. Get out of there. So anyway, there we go. You can break it down a little bit smaller if you want. Kind of crunch down the big pieces. Okay, so my sealer is ready. I got this all set up to go. Let's push this to the side so I don't make too much of a mess out here. And we're going to put it down in here. And I'm not going to try to seal this right to the edge because, again, I want room for my water. I'm going to put a little bit of room in there, like that, so I can cut a little off. But I still want room to put my water in. So let me close this up and seal it up, and I'll bring you back. Now, something I like to do when I'm doing this kind of stuff, especially being that it might be for an emergency and I really want to make sure it's good, is I like to double seal it. So you see your first seal here, right? Okay. I'm going to go a little bit under that and just use the sealer, just use the heat, the seal button here, and just heat it up and make a second seal. This way, if the first seal fails, I have the second one. I really don't have too many that have failed from this one. I had an older one that used to fail all the time. Thankfully, the only thing I sealed up in that was ammo, because it was terrible. It never held a seal. But this one does a pretty good job. So you see, I got two little seals running across here behind my finger. So we're going to cut off the excess and move on to our next product, which will be the rice. And I think that's more than enough, even though it's compacted down and freeze-dried. I think that's more than enough for a meal. It doesn't look like a lot right now, but once you hydrate that, and again, I have the room in the bag for water, it'll be good. So, let's move on to the next one. All right, so next up we're going to do the rice, and I cut the bag approximately to the same size as the other bag. Again, we're going to leave room for water and stuff in there so it's not brimming over the edge, so you can actually fold the edge over with the water in there while it's hydrating. So let's take a look at the rice. I'm probably going to do the same amount of rice. Again, this will be a trial and error thing, and that's why I say I want to see how the seals hold up and everything. That's why we're going to wait a while to eat it. But and you can put oxygen absorbers in here if you want. I'm taking the one out of the pack of rice here. You can do that if you want. I generally probably won't do it. Let's see here. Let's see how that fills up. And remember, if it looks small now, like I said, be careful. Ooh, I'm making a mess. It's going to get a lot bigger once you hydrate it. There we go. So that looks like, you know, that's not a ton of rice, but once you hydrate that, it's going to become a lot. And again, I'm trying to make a very filling meal for some kind of emergency or disaster situation, and you can do it very simply. So let's put this in here. Kind of have to be careful with, I try to make it even like that, because when you get a big bubble in the middle when it's uneven, it won't come out as well. So what I'm going to do is kind of estimate where I need for my water fill line. There we go. Okay, seal it up, fit it, and I'll bring you back once that's done. All right, once again, I double sealed it. I'll show you that. There's your two little seal lines there. Okay. That's just for my own sanity. That way, if for some reason the first seal or the second seal fails, there's a second one there. Now these can be put in here very, very light, very, very simple, and they're hardly taking up any food. And you don't even need to pack this in an MRE to do this. You could take a full bag of this and a full bag of this and go on a trip with, you know, some other stuff too, and you don't need to take the whole bag. So this is the way to do that too. Now the last one's going to be a little bit tricky. I got to admit, I'm a little worried about this. The taquitos. How are we going to seal those? I don't want to be breaking them up, but we will give it a try here. Again, I'm going to cut the bag down a little. Not too much. I'm going to start at the Z on top here where it says Ziploc. And I'm probably going to put about 3 in there, 3 full-size ones. That should be good. This is going to be a fairly large meal, so I would consider this to probably be a dinner, you know, if you're packing it up. And remember, you can do this with any meal you want. You can do this in bulk if you want to take, you know, enough of this for 3 or 4 people. That's what I like about doing this, is it's kind of scalable. If you just want 1 pack for your whole family for a weekend, you can pack up a full quart of that, a full quart of this, and a full quart of that, and you're good to go. So, let's take a look at these first of all. These are kind of interesting. And they're very tasty, by the way. I tried one. They are freeze-dried taquitos. Now, I found that the best way to do these is to stand them up in a water glass or something, and pour water down the middle, and just let them sit there. Within 10 minutes, they were soft enough to eat, no problem. So we're going to put 3 of these in here, if it'll fit. Why can't I never open these on camera? There we go. There's one. These bags are a little tricky. I want to avoid having these cracked to pieces when I seal them. But I do want the airtight seal in there. And there's some that are cracked in there in shipping, so I don't want those. Jeez. All right, there's 2. Yeah, I'll do one more. I think I could fit a small one in there. And there's 3. All right. So there we go. So I'm going to seal these up and see how they work. And if they do break up, you know what? There's still going to be tacos and meat, or taco chips and meat. But I gotta see how they do, honestly. They obviously can withstand that bag, so they should be able to withstand this bag too. These I'm going to let you see as they do. Let's see what happens. I hope they don't crunch up. They look okay though. Wow. Alright. So there you go. The sealer is sealing right now, so I won't make you wait for that. But they actually sealed up okay. So I'll wait till that's done, bring you back, and we'll start putting this thing together. Alright, I got everything masked together. And I want to show you these, by the way. You can see they didn't crack up or anything. They actually retained their shape. Got everything put together here. We're going to put it in this bag. Now I want you to take a look at this bag. This has a gusseted bottom, so it will open up nicely. It does have a little spot here where you can poke and use the little air thing that comes out up top here and suck the air out. It also has a Ziploc top, but for our purposes, we're going to cut right under here. I don't want to have that chance of that hole leaking, and we're going to use it just as a regular bag. You can use these in the food saver bags. You can use these. They look like this in a vacuum sealer. They do work well, and they're a whole lot cheaper than the regular vacuum sealer bag. So what I'm going to do is just take it right under that hole and go across the top here on where the gray is, like that. Because these bags kind of expand out, I'm not worried about it fitting. There we go. that. See, you got a nice gusseted bottom on there. So what I'm going to do is now you kind of have to think about how I'm going to put this in here. How am I going to keep everything safe from being ripped open or torn open? So the first thing I'm going to do is put the waters in here. I know these are good. These aren't going anywhere. And I'm going to put them flat on the bottom if I can. I don't know if they're big enough, or the bag's big enough. Let's see. Nah, bag isn't big enough. We won't do it that way then. Got to adapt. And put them in this way. Making such a big mess over it. There we go. Okay, so we got those. That's why, because it's also, yeah, it's gusseted like that on the side. That's handy if you rehydrate in these bags too, because you can mix everything up and it won't get stuck on the side. So I'm going to be placing our taquitos in there. I'm going to put this back in here for support on the back here. I kind of like to build these as if I'm going to be, needing support on each side. I'm going to fold this over and stick this in here. And pretty much, we're done. The rest of the stuff can fit its way in there easy enough. So there's your start, okay? So we can put in our seasonings, and I'm going to use this stuff as seasoning. That's why I save these packages. Very, very handy to save them from the fast food places. I don't really eat at Taco Bell all that much, but when I do, I make sure I hoard up the supplies because they come in very handy. These are our drinks, our coffee, and our Propel. Our snacks, which we'll put down in there. Our little snack here with some beef and cheese. Our potty pack. And our 2 portable wipes. That's a big bag to seal, but we're going to do it. So, you get everything down to the bottom as best I can. Make sure nothing gets up in the way of the seal. Then we're going to put it in here, and we're going to seal it up. All right, change of plans. I had to cut another bag because it was too short. That other bag was too short, so we're going to try and seal it twice. I just took off the Ziploc part, and we're just going to try it out. See how it works. See how this does. There we go. Seems to be taking up the air in it. And it's doing good. So I'll bring you back when that's all sealed up. Alright, so these aren't the most visible bags. So you're going to want to write what you have in there. But there you go. Everything's sealed up in there. All ready to go. Now, like I said, we're going to try a month and a half, 2 months from now. We're going to see how that held up. I'm going to just keep it out here in the garage where it's extreme temperatures. It isn't summer here yet, so we're not getting the super, super hot weather. But it does get really cold at night. So we're going to just keep this out here, try it out, and see how it works. I know some people get real bent out of shape when you call it an MRE and you have to, God forbid, heat something. So that's why I say it's a meal almost ready to eat. And you can also do this with breakfast. I have some stuff over here I'm going to grab for you. We got hash browns. We can do scrambled eggs, the sausage. You can do a breakfast with this. You can pretty much do anything you want with this food. You can also just pack it up individually. So if I don't want to make up individual meals, I just did this because this is most convenient for me. But if I want to just take, say, a half a pound of that and, 5 of these and 10 of those, and I can just seal them all individually and take them with me, and they'll be protected and have a pretty decent shelf life. They say if you use a oxygen absorber with these and you reseal them, you open it up within a reasonable amount of time, you scoop out your stuff, put it in there, put an oxygen absorber in, you'll have 5 years shelf life. I didn't use an oxygen absorber in this because obviously we're going to eat this, we're going to use this in the channel. So there was really no need to get that 5-year shelf life for it, but I want to see how well it holds up just like this. Anyway, folks, that's the video for today. Just some freeze-dried wholesale stuff. If you're interested in their food, they make really, really good food, and they have a ridiculously huge variety of stuff. Everything from freeze-dried filet mignon to freeze-dried burgers, eggs, chicken, everything, cooked and uncooked. So you can get raw stuff that you can cook. For this, I opted for cooked stuff because it's faster. But you can pretty much get anything you want from freeze-dried wholesalers. I will put a link down below. If you want to get your 15% off, you got to use that link and the code. It's Iridium242. That link will be right below if you want to try that out and get some money off. You can read some of the comments on my other videos. People have tried it. They love this stuff. I love it. I think it's really tasty. So it's good stuff. And don't forget to check out our Amazon affiliate store as well down below. I try to put everything in that store that I review. You can check it out there. We have 2 sections in our Amazon store now. So you can check that out. Don't forget to check out our Thrive Life link as well. The same can be done with Thrive Life. So don't forget to check them out as well. And our Food for Patriots link, which is preparewithiridium.com. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.